Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Thursday. All the people hopefully staying warm with the cold weather around the country. So, a lot of energy now. Feels better to. So, tonight we'll have a lot of good stuff again tonight. We got, we got, we got a lot of stuff to cover. So, I'm lucky I don't do the show in the afternoon. Tim, Lucy, Paul, Daniel, KK. So they finally starting to arrest people. They know how to put the handcuffs on people now. So the lady from the church there was set up with Don Lemon. I got a photo I want to share if you guys didn't see it yet. I want to see if I have it somewhere. I can't find it. But I believe that today is Trump and the First Lady's anniversary today, their 21st year. I don't think I have, I thought I had it somewhere. So, how you liking the cold weather, Kay? Ariella, happy with the cold? Uh-huh. Yep. And got hit with snow. We got hit with snow, and Lucy's going to be getting more snow. And I think Lucy said to me that might get up to a foot of snow next week or upcoming week. Oh, we're missing one more, our last mod. She's not in yet. Carol. JJ, I talked with earlier a little bit ago, okay? Always hear me when I say your name. See here. Wait a few more minutes. Oh, yeah, fire. Oh, yeah. So that Jack Smith really had a good hearing today. I guess someone got thrown out protesters. Okay, I guess we'll get started. We will play the Benny one first about the arrest.
Meet our experts.
This is
What's up, guys? It's Benny. The Trump DOJ woke up this morning and chose violence. Well, they chose justice against violent agitators who stormed and terrorized a Christian church. There are three, count them, three arrests since the storming of the city's church last Sunday. We do not accept or tolerate any attacks on places of worship, says Pam Bondi. A second arrest has been made at my direction. Let's go ahead and walk through all three and what we know today. By the way, these posts are going crazy viral, millions of views, a lot of celebration, and people saying, wow, great news, and more to come from the DOJ. Even the White House is getting in on roasting and memeing the arrested. This is Nikema Armstrong. She is a paid professional agitator who's been terrorizing Minneapolis for the better part of 20 years.
Wow.
She led some of the left-wing shock troops that went and burned down police stations during the George Floyd riots, and so on. She was the first arrested today. Nikema Armstrong played a key role in organizing the coordinated attacks in Minnesota. She is in handcuffs and taken out today by Homeland Security investigations. She's charged with federal crime 18 U.S.C. 241. Religious freedom is the bedrock of the United States. Nikema Armstrong, not shockingly, was on CNN last night. How many hard questions do you think she got? None, by the Xanax wine mom here, Erin Burnett. We did not rush into the church. We sat down and participated in the service, she said.
Harry,
I'm not going to dispute that. This is the quality of journalism on CNN. Yeah, let's just go ahead and see. Does this look like, here's some of the footage of this. Does this look like they're part of the service? This is another person who's been arrested. William Kelly arrested also. Arrested by the FBI. You can see him filming himself attacking Christians, threatening children here. Let's go ahead and listen.
Doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No.
This is
Jesus
peacefully being part.
Touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting?
Shut up, moron. I mean, listen, like this dude now arrested. Boom. I could give you arrest photos and videos all day long. Man, what happens to Don Lemon? Here's Don Lemon kissing Nikema Armstrong, clearly colluding with her. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have an update for you. This is the professional BLM anti-Christian Minnesota church raider arrested. They are making arrests along with, oh my God, ooh, woof, Buzz, your girlfriend. Here's the next one arrested. Holy moly. The physiognomy here. You wonder why these people are so angry at the whole world. You really wonder. You know, an ugly person on the inside becomes an ugly person on the outside. It's guaranteed. And some people are just ugly on the outside all the time.
Yep,
Don't have to become that way. They choose. Protester arrested. Look at that. Here's another one. She was a member of the school board. Her name is Chantel Louisa Allen. Yeah. There's Sean Teal. All right. Well. There you go. And no slavery in Minnesota. Okay. Well, it looks like you are a, not ready. Not ready for prison life. Let's go ahead and check in on some of the commentary here. There have been 2 arrests. Now there's 3. J.D. Vance is already on his way, by the way, to Minneapolis.
Yeah, he spoke there
Black
today.
pillars and panicking. Get out the hot sauce because you're about to eat your words. Proud of Pam Bondi, saying Harmeet Dillon. This AM, the arrests have begun. The arrests have started in connection with the mob disruption. Made this individual organizer made millions of dollars as an activist, the first to be picked up. How can you make millions of dollars as an activist? It's not funny how NGOs and this entire universe, it's so incestuous how it all works. Good. So arrests can be made within a week. We'll patiently wait for Don Lemon's arrests.
About 3
more arrests, ladies and gentlemen, coming. Christy Nome promised that. Kash Patel jumping in, and the White House dunking on those arrested with this, what I believe to be AI-altered image, which is really funny by the White House. Look at this. Nuking, by the way, 24,000 likes, millions of views. The White House, far-left agitator Nakima Armstrong, arrested. There you go. Put it in the White House lawn, fake news signs again. Just a reminder that Trump put up all of the those who have been arrested, criminal aliens, in the Trump White House lawn. And they should do this. I can't wait for President Trump's press conference on this one. Here's Sean Pale getting arrested. Look at that. Oh, boy. You are having a bad day, Sean Till. Sean Till getting arrested by that that toxic masculinity. Toxic white masculinity. She's so angry about it. Let's go ahead.
She's staying off to the side. I know this only because I just did it once.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Looks uncomfortable. Looks uncomfortable. And it should be. She's just been arrested on the basis of a warrant where the judge found probable cause. Good job with the tough questions, Harmeet Dillon says to CNN. This is a fantastic Pam Bondi post from Mr. Kelly here, who begged Pam Bondi to arrest him, who threatened Pam Bondi.
Yesterday, I went
Pam Bondi
into
vows
a
to
church
charge
with
me for
Nakima
protesting.
Armstrong, and I protested these white supremacists. The pastor of the church is a fucking ICE leader in the city.
As you can see, all these pretend Christians, all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps.
So, Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it.
Yesterday,
And Pam Bondi posted it with a okay. Nicely done. All right. Nicely done. Good job. Everybody asking about Don Lemon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the update is that Don Lemon has not been arrested yet. Apparently, there's a little bit of a problem with the judge signing off on an arrest warrant. That's all that we know right now. Sources at the DOJ tell me that they have a lot of different options. When it comes to this, these are magistrate judges. There are chief judges that can overrule them. And there are also grand juries that can overrule the judges anytime and get the arrest warrant. So I guess we will see. But as of right now, good work from the DOJ. You're talking 3, count them, 3 of these activists arrested. They were fugitives from the law, a massive operation in order to hunt them down and get them into custody. And my sources at the DOJ tell me that they are going to go after every single person in the mob that stormed this church, that every single one of them will be arrested and brought to justice, including Don Lemon. That's what they say. All right? So we'll hold them to it. It's your boy, Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.
Okay, that's good news there on the first Benny video. Guess who?
Allen, who was taken into custody for For her part in the protests, this is according to attorney Pam Bondi, we got William Kelly, who's wearing a fuck Trump hat. You can't see it, but it's fine. Nice scarf. Resist the coup! Is that what that button says? Last but not least, we got a Nakima Levy Armstrong, who played a key role in orchestrating the church riots at St. Paul, Minnesota. That's according to Christy Nolan. So, seems pretty par for the core. I don't know. I don't know. Everybody in the comments asking about Don Lemon. Apparently, a magistrate judge out of Minnesota is not going to sign off on the capabilities of arresting Don Lemon. And apparently, a magistrate judge in Minnesota has more power than the Department of Justice does, or the FBI. I think it's Homeland Security. It's Homeland Security. That's according to some people online, some reporters online who come from various sources. I don't, you know how that. But they got the 3 nobodies. I don't know how you can arrest 3 nobodies. You have like the power to arrest 3 nobodies, but you can't go after Don Lemon for the same thing. After watching what the Democrats did with people from J6, I find it really, really hard to believe that we do not have the same power in this context, but maybe we do. I don't know. Maybe we do and we just don't use it. Maybe it's all fake in order to get us to stop talking about a tax revolt. Because we're not talking about that anymore. We're talking about sharks in people's yards and dinosaurs and ice and shooting people. That's all we're talking about. And now we're arresting some people. It's not Dr. Anthony Fauci, and it's not Bill Gates, and it's not all the people putting all the poison in our food, air, and water. It's not any of those. I mean, cool, yeah, don't go storming into our church. I'm glad you're holding them accountable, just the same as you would hold people accountable if it were any kind of Jewish religious house. Because, people were questioning. Yeah, they're still questioning. People are still questioning. Probably not going to see a lot more of the Israel stuff this year because it's campaign season. You expect that to kind of take to the back. But what kills me the most is that the people in the comments, there's some of these people, especially Conservative Inc., and I see you. I see you in the comments, and you're like, oh, this is really going to stick it to the black pillars clapping like a bunch of trained seals. Are you fucking dense? That's not what any of this is about. The Democratic Party and the people within it ruined people's lives for 4 fucking years with their COVID bullshit and their pro-war in Ukraine bullshit, with their money laundering bullshit, with their election fraud bullshit. You expect me to be appeased by some 3 low-level no-lifes who got arrested because they stormed into a church? Well, thanks a lot for doing your fucking job for the first time all year. Y'all are pathetic. That's not what any of this is about. We demand better. This is breadcrumbs. That's all this is. This is fucking breadcrumbs. And we are done accepting breadcrumbs. Campaign season. If you're going to do it now. High profile arrests. Like all of them. I want all of these people who stood up there and looked the American people in the face and lied to them for years and ruined their lives. I want them arrested, not their interns, not the low-level nobody employees. So no, this ain't close to enough. And it'll never be enough. It'll never be enough as long as I am still paying more than half of what we make in income taxes to watch you send it overseas to foreign countries. It will never be enough. Do you hear me? The American people deserve better. They deserve better. This, if it's even real at this point, if it's not completely fucking staged in order to appease the people, this is nothing. It ain't Don Lemon. It ain't nothing. Well, we got some arrests, finally.
Our TikTok lady.
What's up, family? Welcome back to Out of the Darkness. I am Q. Sometimes I make a prediction, and it takes a very long time for me to finally see whether or not that prediction comes true. It just so happens that this time I made a prediction, and less than 24 hours later, we see that my prediction actually came true. Yesterday, I talked about the Clinton situation and the 8 Democrats coming over to support the contempt charges for Bill, and 3 crossing over to for Hillary Clinton. And I said the only reason why the Dems would do that was because they have someone in mind that they want to go after. Now, I figured it was Trump, but it's really the Trump administration, which makes sense. So today there was a huge blow up on the House floor because the Democrats are now yelling for Pam Bondi's head. They are saying that, hey, we agreed with you guys that there's no such thing as a two-tiered justice system, which is false. There always is a two-tiered justice system when it comes to the left. But they said we agreed with you on that, and we voted to bring up the Clintons on charges for contempt. But we must now vote to hold Pam Bondi in contempt because she was supposed to deliver the files. She did not deliver the files on Epstein, and so she was told by a court to do so. They were supposed to be delivered by the end of the month of December. They have not, and so we want to vote to find her in contempt for not answering the judge's orders and not answering the subpoena. We subpoenaed the records; they were not delivered. Now the difference is that Pam Bondi has been turning over the records, not as quickly as what they want to, but the problem, and James Comer brought this up to their attention, when we were bringing them faster, you guys complained that there wasn't enough protection for the people who were the victims in the situation. There wasn't enough redaction. Then when we started redacting more, you said it was too much redaction. And now we're trying to take more time to make sure they get delivered. And they actually come in with enough redaction for you guys, but not too much redaction for you guys. So you can't put more and more stipulations on how you want those records delivered and then hold people in contempt because they're not working fast enough. Now, as far as Bondi goes, I'm not going to sit here and try to protect Bondi, but in addition to that, Comer said the same thing. He says, look, you're not going to find any Republicans in the House that are going to step out and protect Bondi and the job she's doing. That was a heck of a statement for Comer to make, because the problem is that if the Democrats were to get back in office and the Democrats were to actually go after Pam Bondi and attempt to impeach her, I don't know that there would be enough Republicans to hold them back. It looks like Pam Bondi has lost a lot of favor with the Republicans in the House. I'm not saying anything. I'm just simply reporting what Comer said. He said you will not find a single Republican in their committee that would actually protect Pam Bondi. Let me know what you guys think about this. Does that concern you? Do you feel like there's some tension in the ranks? How's Trump going to handle this? Comment below. I'll see you guys.
Okay, the first cue, and I got the first Doug video. Then the next 4 will be Derek Johnson. Oh. Yeah, we'll play Doug. Thought that was him there. Oh, wait. We got to play this guy first. This one's 8 minutes.
Learning here in California right now, and I want you to take notice of something. Governor Newsom, Governor Newsom, as we call him here in California, is at Davos, and I want you to watch what he says about the world's leaders. Watch this. Watch what he says about the world's leaders.
His diplomacy with Donald Trump, he's a T-Rex. You mate with him or he devours you. One or the other. And people need to stand. No, Europeans could be if they continue to down this path and process. They need to stand tall, stand firm, stand united. I can't take this complicity. People rolling over. I should have brought a bunch of knee pads for all the leaders. I mean, handing out crowns and this is pathetic. Nobel Prizes that are being given away. I mean, it's just pathetic. And I hope people understand how pathetic they look on the world stage.
Oh, my Lord. Watch that again. Make sure you go and Google this, because he basically just called the world leaders at Davos pathetic. And not only that, he called them he says, they need to break out the knee pads. They need to break out the knee pads. To do what? He basically called them sea suckers. But break out the knee pads to perform fellatio on Donald Trump. Do you realize what he just said? I wish I could say it, because if I use the right term, what he's implying, TikTok will shut me down. He basically said these world leaders are pathetic suckers, sea suckers. Watch that again. This is unbelievable. Called all the world leaders that are trying to negotiate with Donald Trump pathetic sea suckers. Unbelievable. Hey, everybody, HG&A.
Okay, that's our TikTok guy, new guy. Okay, I got 3 short Doug videos, and then we'll get to the Derek.
Lying to you. I hate being proven true, right about everything. It's really bad for my giant inflated head to always be so right about Pam Bondi. Watch, this is about the Minnesota church break-in. It's very important that we protect our religious freedom in America. Pam Bondi's on the front lines of it. Here's the story over at Fox News.
Because moments ago, remember that church incident on Sunday in Minneapolis?
No.
The AG Pam Bondi posted this, all right? I'm reading now. Minutes ago, at my direction, HSI and FBI agents executed an arrest in Minnesota. So far, we've arrested So far, okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So far, we have arrested Nikema Levy Armstrong, who allegedly played a key role in organizing the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. We will share more updates as they become available.
Okay, now I just want to stop. Did you see that? Arrest Nikema Levy Armstrong. An arrest has been made. I just want to note one thing, because this is significant. This is after Pam Bondi already has hundreds of investigations going on the Department of Justice. We've been reporting how for months they're understaffed. Okay, they don't have enough staff. And then on top of that came the Epstein files by a bunch of dummies that want to distract MAGA and the Republican Party so that they'll lose and not be able to perform Trump's agenda. Okay, so that also pulled a bunch of her staff off. Well, then on top of all that, just this weekend, a church gets invaded by Don Lemon and a bunch of communist, radical, the pro-Islamic, pro-rainbow, weirdo socialists come in and go after this pastor and this church service. And Pam Bondi, she's like, look, the Minnesota state is not doing their job. They're not, local prosecutors aren't going in and busting them and defending religious freedom in Minnesota. So Pam Bondi goes, fine, I'll go in and make an arrest. Pam Bondi sent her people in to make, this is just the first arrest. More are coming, according to this news segment. But I just want to emphasize what an incredible butt kicker she is, what incredible leadership he is. And then on top of all her job of how hard that is, MAGA goes in and lies about her and says all she does is Fox News interviews, and she doesn't do anything. There's never any arrests, and she has to be replaced. That's her reward for doing Trump's job in MAGA more arrests than any other AG. More arrests than any other AG. Your reward is you have MAGA go in and say, you step down, you have to be replaced. That's why my job of this show is to get us all on the right page. I'm begging other channels to support Pam Bondi. I'm begging MAGA in the audience to say, don't repeat these lies unless you know, and you don't know. I go in and I question these people that go, Doug, you have to learn this about Pam Bondi and this and that. And I go, you're nuts. You're following a lie. I had a guy just email me this week that said he was Pentecostal. He believed he had the gift of prophecy. And he said, Trump is being taken down by these satanic backstabbers in his own organization. And one of them's Pam Bondi. I didn't even write him back, but I was like, dude, don't you dare bring in the name of God into this, because a false prophet in the Old Testament, it didn't go well for him. You guys can tell me in the chat what happens to a false prophet. That's why I don't wing God's name around, that he's telling me this and telling me that. I am in terror. I work out my salvation in fear and trembling at the name of my God. I don't wing it around as my little tool to be on my side.
Listen loud and clear. We do not tolerate attacks on places of worship, end quote. I want you to react to that, Paul. But on Monday, Trish McLaughlin was on with Dana and me. And part of her answer said, I think we will be seeing mugshots very soon.
Mugshots of this chick right here, very soon. This is a professional, radical protester. And by the way, some of it is taking tax dollars. That is, Minnesota people, Christians are paying their taxes because you have to. Paul says pay your taxes in the New Testament. Then the tax dollars go to this psycho, and she shows up, breaks the federal law, and protests in your church. Better still, guys, the laws that are being used against them, these protesters, oddly enough, we're from the Jim Crow era. It's going to be something like the Ku Klux Klan Act, because they're the actual anti-religious racists, anti-white racists, because she and Don Lemon brought up that it was a white pastor or a white church. This could fall under a hate crime against whites. And as a white guy who's always hearing how racist we are, I love hearing it come from the other side. Democrat black radicals are racist along the lines of the Ku Klux Klan. Also, by the way, Ku Klux Klan was a Democrat Party institution.
She was tipping her hand that arrests were on the way, and this is the first one that's been made.
Yeah, and look, there's going to be very, very little that they can do in defense of this because it's on film, and for once they didn't cover their faces. Now, here is the thing that's going to come out of this. You have her under arrest. Now you're going to get the communications.
Oh, yeah. Get those communications. Sorry to interrupt so much, guys, but this just excites me. This is why arrests are important, because you get the cell phone. You're going to get the entire network talking to her on the cell phone, texts, emails, and phone calls. That's what you get with the arrest. Do you know who's going to show up in those text communications? Don Lemon. Black, gay, communist, Don Lemon. He too, let's get the mugshot going on him. That's why I love using the word honky and cracker, my cracker, my people, because I laugh at what has been accused. The claims of racism in America are ridiculous. This is the greatest country in the world. By the way, why do you think millions of Somalis, black Somalis, are breaking our doors down to get into this country? It's just totally reverses what the Democrats have been telling you all along, that white racism and white supremacy is the biggest problem in America. Why are black Somalis begging to come here, crying, dying to bring their women and family here? And you go, fine, we're racist. We'll send you back to your country. They're crying. No, you can't do that. You're hateful if you do that to us. If you send us back to that Somali hellhole, as Trump says, there's no police there. They have no country. There's nothing there. Yeah. Isn't America great? If America is full of white supremacists, at least the white liberals should be thanked by these Somali radicals. I'm tired of hearing their arguments. There's no logic. There's no reason. There's no facts. It's all just emotional spewing and hatred. It's basically Trump bad. If they can call Trump a Nazi, that's just hatred from these leftists.
And this is where it starts to spider web out. You start to see who's talking to who showed up in regard, including Don Lemon. How much did they all know going in? That imports things like conspiracy charges, which can be quite heavy. There's criminal civil rights charges that are implicated in the church incident.
This is also because one of the things that we found out about that was that they were targeting them because they were privileged white.
Looking for tax help? Now there are TurboTax experts right in your neighborhood. They can
Supremacists?
We talked about that.
Targeting white. You know, my people, my white people. Let my people go. Swing low, sweet chariot. My white people, we've been oppressed so long. You know what I want? In Minnesota for this Christian church, white Christian church, they need reparations. Leftist, communist radicals. When do we get our reparations? How much of a check you going to give those pasty white albino? They look like Vikings.
Earlier in the week, not only did that come out in the video and that they said something like that in the church, but then after the fact, Lemon talks about exactly that, putting a racial overtone in the whole thing, which potentially could import a hate crime. So this
There's
was
another
really
thing about
badly
this.
done.
The woman that they've just arrested, I talked a little bit about.
Let that news sink in, guys. This is a hate crime in a church that's predominantly white by blacks targeting them, blacks targeting whites. And there were some white protesters also. So whites targeting whites. You know, they're self-loathing whites. You're allowed to be. I used to always crack jokes about Barack Obama. I'd say, I only hate the white half of Barack Obama.
On the 5 yesterday because Cam Cawthorn, he writes for Fox Digital, and he had a piece about her. So she's been doing professional protesting and organizing for a long time. She gets a lot of grants from different nonprofits, and she's always made more money than she has spent. So like there's a financial incentive for her. There's a business model for these types of things.
We've talked about this really since I've been on the network. One of the things that I've tried to sort of bang the gong on that I think a lot of police who do investigations see that the public doesn't see is that there is a job, career protester, and it is developed over the last, let's say, dozen years or so into a very lucrative industry. And
we're going to get George Soros too. That's what I'm hearing. We're going to break up that whole network. We're going to find out all her funding. She's been arrested, guys. Let's get George Soros and his son.
Have people who do this for a living make a ton of money. They weaponize people who don't know any better. To use the Leninist term, useful idiots. They're looking for any cause in the world. They get them out of the campuses. They grow those groups and those institutions, and then they pick out people who want to stay in that world, who don't go back to East Cupcake and get a job eventually after college. They stay in that. They become the middle management, and it grows and it grows. It's very much like any other industry. The problem with it is if you dig down deep enough, you find out that there's tax money going into all of this stuff.
Now, government-funded hate crime is what you have here, ladies and gentlemen. Government-funded, formally racist hate crimes is what the taxes are paying for. Government-funded, anti-white, anti-Christian hate crime. That's shocking.
In mind, she said so far, so that would indicate more to come.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm trespassing at a minimum. I mean, you were not invited in. That's not your
at
property.
the state level. Where's the minute? Well, by the way, this is St. Paul. Where's the St. Paul chief of police?
Fair point.
Boom. Where's the St. Paul chief of police? Where's local law enforcement? It's run by Democrats, and Democrats don't care when there's hate crimes against whites. The local police did not show up. That's why it triggered. That's why Pam Bondi had to step in so quick and go, fine, the feds are going to come in. This one's much easier for Pam Bondi to get involved with because Don Lemon, in all their hubris, Democrats always overplay a weak hand. They videotaped the whole thing and put it on the internet. They weren't secretive like Antifa and the people wearing the inflatable frog outfits. They didn't wear masks. They did it in public, a public hate crime. They thought that hatred was fashionable. On the left, it is. That's why we never put an X next to a Democrat. I'm Doug in exile.
Okay, today's Doug video. Time for Derek. Eight minutes on the first one.
And maintain. If it just everything just dropped off tomorrow, guess what it would be? Pandemonium and chaos in the streets. Just think if every big box store just all of a sudden shut down tomorrow. Think about it. Really apply that to your life. In my lifetime, and most everybody watches lifetime, 85% of America were farmers. Guess what it is now? Flip-flopped. So imagine if the stores said, all right, closing our doors, you're on your own, Americans. What would you do then? Half of you freaking liberals out there that bitch all the time about guys like me who go hunting, who don't do any. I do everything by what the law says and the hunter's rules. I take 1 to 3 deer a year. I do it humanely. I do it the right way. Oh, but that's cruelty to animals. Cruelty to animals. Why the heck do they taste so good then? Why did God put meat on them that tastes so good? Explain to me that. And why does it taste good? Right? So look at where we would be if all of a sudden everything just shut down. What would you do? What would you do? Well, you'd be up the most of y'all be up the creek without a paddle, son. You'd be in the snow without any jackets. You'd be unprepared because you're not prepared, like some of us are. Some of our daddies and grandpas raised us right. It ain't just men. There's a lot of women out there who can survive too. But the majority of America would not make it. And y'all ain't thought about that. All of you whining and complaining ain't thought about that. You ain't thought about, you just get in your vehicle and expect it to crank up on a hot day or a cold day. If that vehicle don't crank up though, what you gonna do? Can you fix it? Or you want, Dad, Mom, what you gonna do? So that's what you got to understand, the system that we're talking about. This ain't a joke. It's not a comic event. It's nothing like that. This is serious. Every one of you whine, complain, joke, but it's a serious matter. Not done yet. We got to dismantle the deep state. I'm going to put term limits on Congress. It's time. We're going to have same-day voting, only paper ballots, which bats our statute of 1845. This statute of 1845 specifically tells us when and how to vote. Been working all these years until the federal corporation got a hold of it and the career politicians who only, pad their narrative and their agendas. And everybody, liberals, gays, Buddhists, straight, whatever the heck you are, you all suffer if you're not under these career politicians. You're still suffering. Your paycheck sucks because of career politicians, and you don't want to acknowledge it. The journey ahead of us will not be easy. Anyone who truly seeks to take on this rigged and corrupt system will be faced with a storm of fire only a few could understand. He's giving the military a shout out right there. He's giving us 3 percentiles of veterans a shout out right there. And he's giving the 1% who are currently serving. That's why most of you can't think like a veteran. That's why most of you can't think optically. That's why most of you jumped ship last night. That's why most of you were all down last night and no hope this morning. That's why most of you look the way you look. Because you can't handle the fire when the fire gets heated. That's why the military trains us in chaos. Because if we can work calmly in chaos, guess what we can work in? Anything. And most of you can't handle that.
What do you think?
And when a guy like me tries to light a fire under your rear end, oh, look at this guy. Look at him. He can't control his temper. He can't control his anger. It's not anger. It's called passion. Because I truly can't see how Americans are this lazy, complacent, dumb, ignorant, stupid, and just outright hateful and rude over someone trying to explain how a system works. A veteran, nonetheless, telling you that the same Uniform Code of Military Justice, the same Constitution, and the same Title 10, of which every single soldier, dead and alive, swore in honor to protect, is the same exact laws and orders that our military are operating under right now. How's that? And why in the hell would it be that bad? Why would you get so angry that a veteran is telling you how we're going to have a better life that you would get that mad over it? Why? And then when your friends and your family taking up for everybody in this comment box over here who's been following me, supporting the laws, ain't supporting me, supporting the laws and the orders of which I'm interpreting for you, why would you get so mad at your family members, your wife or your kids or whomever it is trying to tell you how you can have a better life? Why are you so hateful towards your wife? Why are you hateful towards your family? Why are you so bitter and so closed off that you can't listen to someone trying to tell you how to have a better life? Why have we gotten there? Why and how? Listen to them. They care about you. I care about you. Don't even know you, but I care about you. I've already proven that by signing the dotted line. And every man and woman who's ever signed that dotted line, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. And to the spouses of those who endure that, thank you for yours too, because you also pay the price with your worry and your prayers and your fears and everything you have to go through. All the parents of the soldiers out there, all the parents, thank you too, because of your worry and your stress and your prayers. And also to the Gold Star moms out there that only a few of you can relate to. Gold Star moms. I had a Gold Star mom walk up to me because she's an acquaintance or a friend of one of my friends and thank me for what I'm doing. A Gold Star mom. I had a great aunt who's a Gold Star mom. Okay. When you lose a child in battle, when you lose a child in military, no one can understand that feeling. Those soldiers served under the same Constitution, the same UCMJ, and the same Title 10. They swore in under the same one. So when you make fun of me, or when you ridicule me, or you troll my page, you're trolling their graves. That's what you're doing, because it's the same Constitution, the same Uniform Code of Military Justice, and the same Title 10. So you think about that next time you troll me, or you troll any veteran for that matter. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You're desecrating their graves. You're desecrating it. You're desecrating their service. And I'm not going to let every grave across this country lay in vain because of you. They're going to lay in rest heroes because they serve for a grander purpose than most people can ever think of. So now's the time you can stand on what side of the line you want to stand on. Lead, follow. We have too many systems out there.
So I think what he was about the trolls or something, I think he mentioned. Yep, Carol. He made a good point. Yep. Hey, Vino. So I got 3 more, DJ. They're short ones. One, he has 2 of the same shirt on. Can't play that one. I don't know why they do that.
Receive the full constitutional and military regulation inauguration ceremony. Joint Base Andrews, okay? This is how particular the military is. Hang with me. Donald Trump exited Marine One on a red carpet rollout, which signifies royalty, okay? High honor. As he exited Marine One, the official band on the 4th ruffle, okay? This is how specific military is. On the 4th ruffle, so it'd be like bump-a-bum, 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 bump-a-bum. On the 4th ruffle, in military regulation, Hail to the Chief is supposed to start playing. On the 4th ruffle, as Donald Trump exited Marine One on a red carpet rollout, Hail to the Chief started playing, and on the 4th ruffle, I said that wrong. On the 4th ruffle, the 21 gun salute is to start. So it's the bump a bump is already the Hail to the Chief coming. Bump a bump, bump a bump, bump a bump, bump a bump. So the Hail to the Chief starts playing. On the 4th ruffle, though, boom, boom, the 21 gun salute starts. Okay. All that happened right in front of you. Donald Trump received the full military and constitutional regulation ceremony. Okay. He is the first president in United States history to leave D.C. on Air Force One, and also present on Joint Base Andrews that day were both Air Force Ones. There's two of them. Their numbers 28,000 and number 29,000. It's not secret. You can look that up. You can get on a flight app, okay, which is another optic for you. Both of those have been decommissioned, okay. So once a military aircraft or military vehicle is decommissioned, me or you could buy it if we got the money. So that's another topic for later, okay. So Donald Trump received the full grade constitutional and military regulation inauguration service. This is where it gets even funnier. I think it's the most trollful thing that if I was a general and I got to make this call, gosh, I would want everybody to know it, even though they didn't want most people knowing it from themselves. They want people like me to tell it to you. Okay. On January the 20th, the American people witnessed on national TV, get ready. This is exciting. A lot of you already know what I'm about to say. On January the 20th, 2021, everybody who watched CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, and ESPN, of all people, reported this bullcrap. Everybody witnessed Joe Biden receiving a full grade military regulation funeral service. And I'm going to show you how, because I know how. Let's start at the Capitol building, where he was supposedly speaking to the people, and you saw the people filling up. Wasn't people. It was a mirror out there. There wasn't people out on the lawn. Those were flags flying. Those weren't people. Okay. All of the military uniforms that were around Biden that day were non-regulation uniforms. Pershing's Army, Pershing's Own, or rather, the Marine Band. None of those were regulation military uniforms. January 20th.
Okay, that was the first part. There's a second one here. I think this is the
received the full constitutional and military.
Did that one already. Okay, this is the one.
75. Okay, do your math there. 1775. Long before what? The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Okay. Then after military law, October the 13th, 1775 came the United States Navy, and November the 10th, 1775 came the United States Marines. Okay. We didn't need an Air Force at the time. Duh. So, okay. Military law came before the Declaration of Independence and the Constitutions. But here's the most powerful thing out of everything that most Americans have never thought of. Our founders, and by the way, I am a son of the Revolution and I'm a son of the Confederacy. So all the way back to my lineage comes from the Mayflower. Okay, and they fought in the Revolutionary War. But our founders, they signed the Declaration of Independence. They declared independence 7 years before the war ended. Imagine that. Just think of that. They were hell-bent to win that war. They were hell-bent not to go back to what they came from. That is how smart they are and were. Brilliant men. They declared independence 7 years before the war ended. Then it was another 4 years before the Constitution was even written. How is that so hard to comprehend for people out there? Okay, but how brilliant these men were. Okay, and another thing I'm going to get on while we're waking people's asses up. I hope this video gets to Colin Kaepernick. Mr. Afro Man, Mr. Sucks at quarterback. He sucked so bad at quarterback, he had to become an activist. Okay. And whoever the asshole was, the special forces guy who got on national TV with his sorry ass and said, I support him and I'm a United States veteran. Screw you too, because you don't know military law and you don't know military regulation. And you don't have people that you care for, like my buddies here watching that are veterans. You are a disgrace to the uniform you served in. Okay. Yes, everybody has freedom of speech, but how do they get it? If your freedom of speech doesn't back mine, because mine is backed by the Constitution and mine is backed by the foundation, then mine trumps yours, all pun intended. Okay, so Mr. Colin Kaepernick, you're about to get a little history lesson here for your ass too, okay? Because no coincidence, on June the 14th, 1775, the Army was founded. Guess what was also founded on June the 14th, which is also Donald Trump's birthday. No coincidence with the man upstairs. Okay, June 14th, 1777, guess what was sworn into Congress? The United States flag. Okay, June the 14th, 1777, 2 years on the Army's birthday. Okay, and 51 days later, get this, 51 days later, guess where it first took flight? At the Battle of Oriskany in New York. And it was one of the bloodiest battles of the Revolutionary War. It first took flight on a military foundation, on a military base, Mr. Kaepernick. So when you tell me that the flag doesn't represent the people anymore, first off, you asshole, it never represented you in the first place. It represented the military first. And then the people adopted it because they were appreciative of the military, which gives them the freedom to live and to live how they want in this country. So stand your ass up or get your ass off the field. You suck anyway. God, how Americans patronize some dude who sucks already as a football player. Blows my mind. Battle of Oriskany. Here's another optic for you. I'm going to teach you optics later, but here's you an optic, okay? Guess what the Battle of Oriskany is now? A maritime college. Yeah, wait till I bring that up. All right. CIC versus president. Here's another thing you got to understand. The commander-in-chief is the highest rank in military. He is the commander-in-chief over the Uniform Code of Military Justice. He is the commander-in-chief over military law. He's not commander-in-chief over civilians. He's not president over soldiers, okay? He's president over federal law, and he's commander-in-chief over military law, which should tell you right there that he has what? He has war powers, and he can become what? Commander-in-chief. He can step down as president. He can step up as commander-in-chief. It's two separate roles, two separate duties, two separate laws. And our founders created that, which is why you got to understand your foundation and understand military. Covert operation. Now, you got to go back to why did you not know? Well, it's either because you didn't know law, regulations, or a veteran who does know that, and you weren't paying attention. I don't mean that in a bad way this time. I don't mean that. I'm getting to a point here. But this operation was to be controlled. Okay, if the military came out in a General Assembly right now and they told you the people what all has happened, I mean, if they laid out every single thing that's happened over the last just 10 years, the average person could not take it right here. You wouldn't be able to take it. You couldn't comprehend it. You wouldn't understand it. It would just blow your mind. It's military.
Okay, I got one more I'll play. There's two there, but I don't know if you guys want me to play four of them or not, but they're only 4 minutes. This one is 4 minutes here.
Slander, libel, and frame up and fraud. So here's what can happen out of this. These people make up their lies tonight. They put out their quote unquote evidence of which is going to add to defamation, slander, and libel. All right, that's what they're going to do, which you've already seen the evidence if you watched the first video. But what I didn't do in the first video was show all my cards, because you don't do that, right? Those of you who know, you've been in law enforcement,
you bet it. Some of you who are lawyers and doctors and whatnot, you don't show all your cards, right? You hold some back. You see if the people who didn't get displayed come out and say, man, I'm sorry. I should not have been involved in this. I should have stepped back from this. I'm sorry. Because here's the deal. And I'm going to do a chronological timeline for you and show how I met all these people and the ones I didn't meet and the ones and how they intertwine. I know this right off the top of my head.
Hey,
but that video, the first video I put out was January 24, 2024. And I put old Soldier Boy on full display. All right, because he's the one who actually went and committed the acts. All right. The ones who are trying to start all of the lies on their little show tonight, those people, those are the ones who were hidden. One of them and two of them, maybe three, but for sure two. All right. I don't think it's all of the people over at this network. However, they are linked with a certain general, and it don't look good on them at all. All right. That don't look good for the general, and it don't look good for some of these people over there. All right. So, but once again, I ain't got a thing to hide in the world. But when you do the timeline, ladies and gentlemen, when you do the chronological timeline and go, now, why am I dealing with this? All right. So here's the deal. Let's do a little backtrack on my life. Those of you that don't know me and didn't know me. All right. So in 2012, I joined the military. All right. For certain reasons, I was honorably retired from the military. All right. I go back to college in late 2015. All right. And then I moved back to Nashville. So I was in Texas, moved back to Nashville briefly. I recorded an album, all right, in 2016. And we charted, well, I had a few songs on Texas radio. And then I had a song that got on lower level, not Billboard yet, but lower level radio and the Music Row charts, what they call it. 2017, I didn't get a record deal. I had a big hit producer, all that good stuff. Big hit producer, big hit songwriter. All the first 6 songs on my first little EP were all hit songwriters. Not any of mine. That's the only ones I haven't written. And 2017, we didn't get a record deal. So I called all my guys and I was like, hey, would you stop working with me if I moved out of state and, went back to college? They're like, no, man, we don't care where you live. So I moved to Colorado, 2017. I have full-blown evidence for defamation of character, slander, libel, and frame up and fraud. So here's what can happen out of this. These people.
Okay, the last one is only 2 minutes. Two minutes on this one.
A whole lot, just because I manage all of my social media accounts. So that means all my Facebooks, which are 3 of those and 1 personal. And then I have my X account, my True Social account, this TikTok here, and a few other things. So, but just a few nuggets for you. So like the tariffs, you see right now, all the tariffs bringing in all the money. The one thing that shows that the whole thing's been a military operation, military occupation, continuity of government, straight up laws and orders show that first off. But then there's a few nuggets out there, kind of like the tariffs. The tariffs are presidential authority, which is your trade acts of 62 and 74. And so not one single time from 2021 to 2025 for the people that thinks that, quote unquote, Joe was real. He never once terminated a tariff. Also from 2021.
Oh.
What's up, everybody? Derek.
Hey, that was caught up on all the Derek Johnson videos for today. We haven't played him in a while. Now I got a new lady on TikTok that's good. She's good with intel.
Stay with me for just a minute. I've got 3 things to tell you. Number 1, there is a picture going around on the internet. I know you've seen it, of this little 5-year-old boy that ICE has detained. Oh my God, clutch your pearls. ICE detained a 5-year-old child. Okay. So JD Vance just did a press conference and cleared all that up for all of the liars out there. So how about they trying to detain the illegal dad? He takes off running and leaves his damn 5-year-old son behind. So the ICE agents, of course, have the 5-year-old right there, and they're detaining him. They can't just walk away and leave the 5-year-old in the snow. But no, let's put it out there to ICE agents. They're ripping babies out of the illegals' wombs and putting handcuffs on them. I'm so sick of this shit, I could fucking scream, okay? I'm trying to keep my phone from falling. It looks like it's going to fall. Second thing is, y'all liberals, y'all done effed up. So now y'all going to where y'all got y'all's people inside where the ICE agents keeps their damn canine German Shepherd dogs. And y'all gonna go to the feed chart on an innocent dog and write ICE out across that dog's feeding chart. Let me tell you something. Us Trump supporters, we have sit back and took y'all shit a long time. And although we're getting really, really close to just
this lady's
fuck
good.
with an animal.
She's new.
Fuck with an animal and see what happens. Okay, so now you guys are going to threaten innocent animals. You've already attacked a horse. And now y'all going to write ICE out across the feeding chart. So now the Republicans are calling for the ability to get kennels so the ICE agents can take their canine dogs home with them, since we can't trust the fucking employees where the dogs are held. Scary, scary, isn't it, guys? Third thing is, Pam Bondi has arrested 2 of the organizers of the church mob bullying that went on. She did try to get Don Lemon arrested. She did. The judge just turned her down and said, no, we can't do that. So Pam Bondi is going ahead and she's going around a different way. They not giving up. So hang tight. So that was my 3 things to update you guys today. I hope you liked that video last night of me and my friend. We are going to put this, we're going to start a whole new TikTok and just have that stuff on there with me and her. I done told her she don't want to be banned. She don't want to be taken off TikTok, and she don't want to be getting the threats like I get daily in my inbox. So we're going to start a brand new TikTok. If you guys will, when we do that, we announce it. Will you follow us? I'm over here desperate trying to get some damn. Let me tell you guys, let me tell you how much I've made since I started doing this. So that one video went viral of me saying we're sick of the protesters and we don't care. And I got all these freaking threats. You would not believe the threats I got, right? I made $1.65 over 165,000 views. That's how hard it is to make money on TikTok. You got to have a lot of followers. Second thing is Julia. Y'all, Roderick went to the vet yesterday. Y'all all know that, right? Well, God love him. I'm getting 4 cats spayed and neutered next week. I've got to watch my money. Julia, you little angel, you. So I go, dude, Amazon's at my door. I'm like, I didn't order anything from Amazon. How about Julia done set Roderick up? Julia, you are an angel. We love you. And we're going to get a video of Roderick tonight dedicated to you. Thank you, love. And let me tell you something, guys. If anybody wants to help out with cat food, please help me with cat food if you can. I got an Amazon wish list. Y'all know me. I'm spaying and neutering 4 next week. I'm going to be short. Thank you so much. Take care. Always Carrie.
Yep, she's good. I got another one.
Somebody on my page that wants some attention so bad, so desperate. She done left like 20 comments. Can y'all just kind of maybe go to her page and report some of the stuff that she's got on her page, since she's calling for people to be unalived by the stake and referencing things? I think that TikTok might need some reports. Now, we all know nothing's going to happen, but, you know, you can't come on my page and post all those comments and not expect that you're going to get reported, just like I'm sure you reported me, okay? Hang tight, guys. Here she is. Guys, sorry to make another video so quick.
So that was a short one for somebody helping a friend out there. So I got a 5-minute one from this afternoon. Which, let's play this one first. About 2.5.
And now all of these liberal losers are panicking because every year they go, they're on our tax money. They live luxuriously for that time. They eat really well. They get schmeck workers, coming to visit them. And there's actual articles, if you look that up, from last year of, how many prostitutes get flown into Davos during that time. Isn't it amazing how our tax money at work? And it's a bunch of liberal cucks basically pretending like they're going to solve all the problems that they created. Except with this year, the Trump administration going in, giving everybody the middle finger and telling them like enough is enough. They're actually starting to panic. And look what's being written on X by the Finnish leader. Finland's president, if we want to preserve the liberal world order, we need to give agency to those countries around the world which feel the current order was built 80 years ago in the image of the West and especially the US. So give more power to the rest of the world. They just want to take the power away from the US. They don't want to give any third world country or anybody else the power. Their thing is to take power away from everybody and basically have them be in charge of all of us, with the UN being the head of the New World Order government. And so it's really funny that they're actually saying this out loud, not using the word New World Order, but actually saying liberal global order. And then Julian Assange tweeted this. Carney is a DNC asset. DNC stands for Democratic National Committee, and that's a U.S.-based thing. The Liberal Party and the DNC are joined at the hip. The DNC keeps their money in Canadian banks because it shields their money laundering from U.S. authorities. The amount of fraud going on in Canadian banks makes the Somali fraud look like child's play. And he's right. I made a video about that, about how Hillary Clinton and Kamala came to, Canada to do a talk, and Canada paid for all of it. And I thought it was really weird. And that video was like 4 years old. But now Julian Assange kind of put the two together. And if you don't know who Julian Assange is, you're probably a Gen Z who ate Tide Pods. I suggest you go and Google him, because he literally knows what's going on. He's the guy behind WikiLeaks. So I find it really funny that right now it's just kind of burning to the ground and everyone's panicking in Europe, and Trump just doesn't care. Everything is just coming out in the open. I'm telling you guys, 2026 is going to be freaking amazing. I'm not even kidding, especially if you're a truther and you know what's going on. For those who are still kind of asleep, they're about to get a shocker. But hey, dudes, not a bad time to wake up completely. So yeah.
I wanted to. So that time she had a better video. The other videos she played had some bad ones. Lady from Canada. Five minutes.
No phone toll records.
As I sit here right now, I do not recall a specific number.
Is this the complete list right here? Well, let me ask you this. Am I on this list? Did you target my records and subpoena my phone toll records?
My understanding is your records were subpoenaed by prosecutors before I became special counsel.
Well, staff would put this up on the screen. I'm thankful for the great staff who discovered the email where I learned for the first time a few weeks ago that my phone records were indeed targeted. We called AT&T and we've learned that they were given to the Department of Justice, as this email indicates, because I've been in communication with Scott Perry, one of my colleagues here in Congress, who literally had his phone taken from him in front of his family. And of course, we've already talked about in this document, it talks about you could be in violation of the privilege by even obtaining and possessing this information if the member objected to the disclosure. This happened 4 years ago in May of 2022, and I couldn't object because I didn't know. I didn't know until about 3 weeks ago. My question here is, was there any limits to your investigation or the investigation that preceded you, Mr. Smith? Because as egregious as a violation of separation of powers this is, as an egregious and abuse of power it is, It's far more concerning you are clearly targeting American citizens for merely being conservative or supporting the president. We've got memos that we've already been talking about in this hearing from April 2022 that preceded you that establish and open the investigations, one of which has Attorney General Merrick Garland's signature on it. And the focus was the electors. Now, that was 6 months before you were appointed. You testified earlier, you met and interviewed Merrick Garland and Deputy AG Lisa Monaco, and you briefed the AG and deputy multiple times. Did you brief them on the electors and the prosecution of their supposed crimes?
I'm sorry.
Did you brief them on the electors and their supposed crimes?
I don't recall specific conversations, but I'm sure that in the course of briefing them, I discussed.
Wasn't that the purpose of the entire investigation as it was set out? Because putting aside that in 1960, it was already talked about, my friend, Mr. Tiffany, that Hawaii put forward an alternate slate of electors, the investigation pivoted to President Trump and, frankly, anybody who knew him. Do you know who Cleta Mitchell is?
Yes, I do.
She's an election lawyer that was involved in filing an election contest on behalf of President Trump in Georgia in December of 2020. A 64-page complaint with over 1,100 pages of exhibits, witness affidavits, and expert witness reports documenting thousands of votes cast in violation of Georgia law, but which were nevertheless included in the vote totals. Now, notwithstanding the disposition of the cases that was filed, is that a criminal act? Filing an election contest on behalf of a candidate for office, a client. Is that a criminal act, yes or no?
No, in fact,
So why did you deem it appropriate to monitor Cleta Mitchell's long-distance phone records in 2023, 2.5 years after the election contest was filed and after the presidential electors were certified? What about Jenna Ellis? What about Sidney Powell? What about Bill Sepien? What crime did you suspect had been committed by them that would warrant monitoring their phone records 2.5 years after the 2020 election was certified?
With respect to Sidney Powell, she is one of the co-conspirators alleged in the indictment. I don't know what you mean by monitoring, sir, if you're talking.
Well, there were some 400 plus Republican conservative groups and leaders who were targeted by your investigation. Their financial records were obtained, records of the RNC, the Trump campaign, Cleta Mitchell, the Conservative Partnership Institute, the America First Policy Institute, NRCC, NRSC, PACs, conservative groups, people all across the country, citizens, because we hear a lot about members of Congress. And we should, because of separation of powers and the egregious abuse of power. But what we're not talking about enough, in my opinion, are the American citizens that have been targeted. Because frankly, are there any limits to the power of a special prosecutor or special counsel? So much so in your abuse of power that in the summer of 2024, the indictment involving classified documents was dismissed after determining your appointment violated the Appointments Clause of the Constitution, but you continued to sign your name on court filings until the time you resigned from office in January of 2025. A federal judge just recently stated a prosecutor who continues to sign his name in court filings after a disqualification order should face disciplinary action or disbarment. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The
gentleman have the opportunity to respond?
If the gentleman wants to respond, he can.
With respect to the last point, Judge Cannon's order specifically limited her finding to that proceeding. So there would be nothing improper about continuing to litigate the cases in Washington, D.C. And with respect to Florida, there was nothing improper about taking an appeal of that very decision.
Rules, commands, MCP servers, subagents.
Okay, one more 5-minute one, and then we'll do one Billy Bean video that came out.
Don't see any. Do you see people who are committing crimes because they continue to believe things that just aren't true? That's paraphrasing Ronald Reagan, that liberals aren't stupid. They just know things that don't happen to be true. If the president believed that he was cheated in an election, that there was fraud, or in some other way, a number of items led to his defeat, when in fact he should have won according to the Constitution, does that make him a criminal?
Sir,
no, that's a yes or no, please, Mr. Smith. these people here are continuing to grapple constantly with things that aren't true, like socialism works, or that somehow everything the Republicans do is evil and everything they do is right. They've never reached a conclusion in a typical partisan case in which we're not evil because we think something different and we're not wrong. You understand the Constitution. Do you understand the Bill of Rights, that someone has the absolute right to believe something, whether it's true or not, and to advocate for something, whether it's true or not? Do you understand that in addition to your oath to the Constitution, that's one of the things the First Amendment allows for, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you know that people have a right to opine, lobby for, assert, do everything they can legally to ask for people to make different decisions, then why is it you saw criminal conduct on behalf of a president who believed he didn't win? Chairman Jordan and myself have something in common along with a number of others here. We saw wrongdoing, and on January 6th, we voted not to confirm 2 states because they had violated the U.S. Constitution in how they selected who got ballots. And yet, you're going to come here and say, oh, I just followed the law. When you went after these people and you said, well, technically I can do that, you didn't see any selective nature or any separation of powers under the Constitution to spying on the activities and the conversations of the Speaker of the House. To what end would conversations between the Speaker of the U.S. House, third or second in line to be the president, and the president, in what basis would it be any of your business other than you believe that there was a conspiracy without conspiracy as a basic premise? You, like the president's men for Richard Nixon, went after your political enemies. Maybe they're not your political enemies, but they sure as hell were Joe Biden's political enemies, weren't they? They were Harris's political enemies. They were the enemies of the president, and you were their arm, weren't you?
No.
No. Oh, great. So you spied on the Speaker of the House and these other senators and so on, and informed no one, and in fact put in a gag order so they couldn't discover it. If they were not subjects of a conspiracy investigation, why did Congress, a separate branch that you, under the Constitution, have to respect, why is it that no one should be informed, including the judges? As you went in to spy on these people, did you mention that you were spying on seeking records so you could find out about when conversations occurred between the U.S. Speaker of the House and the president? Did you inform the judge, or did you hold that back?
My office didn't spy on anyone.
Wait a second. The question I asked you, Mr. Smith, was pretty straightforward. Did you withhold that information from an Article III judge in the process of taking the records of the Speaker of the House?
We complied with Department.
Did you hold back
Mr. Chairman, would you please instruct the gentleman to allow the witness to answer the questions?
It's not your time. I'd like my time back.
Mr. Chairman, you have repeatedly done that in the past. The witness has the right to answer the question.
And there'll be due time to answer the question. Would you please put my time back and let me finish this? Mr. Smith, I asked you a question and you were not responsive to it, and I want you to be responsive to it. Did you, whether you think it was legal or not, whether you think it was right or not, did you withhold the name of Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House, when you were seeking records on Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, or Jim Jordan, the chairman of this committee?
The time of the gentleman is.
No, please give me back the time that was taken away.
Time has expired, but we're going to let the witness answer your question because it's an important question. The witness can respond.
We did not provide that information to the judge when we requested a non-disclosure order, consistent with the law and consistent with Department.
Mr. Chairman, the amazing thing here today is that we have an admission that an article.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's time has expired by now 34 seconds.
It gets more than 5 minutes.
How many times do you interrupt me?
The time belongs to the gentleman from California, but it has expired.
I will be brief in my address to the chairman. We have the evidence that an Article 1 representative on behalf of the president withheld
order,
from
Mr.
Article
Chairman.
3
Point of
Chairman,
order.
are we
the information.
the same leniency?
And with that, I yield back in disgust of this witness.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-host Harris Faulkner and
So that was today. So Billy Bean now, and then I got one video I'm not sure about. It's a half hour. It might be important. It's your judge if you guys want to play or not.
Priced for real life.
Welcome to Truth by
16
Billy
minutes.
Bean. Today's date, January 22nd, 2026, time in Texas about 7 a.m. Texas Prep says does most of the U.S. for a hard freeze Sunday through Monday. And some of the sources I'll use today, Zero Hedge, RT, WorldNet Daily Plus. Some of the things we'll cover. Our G5 to G3 impact with earthquakes being up. More U.S. military to prep to go to Minnesota. President Trump brings about peace in Gaza. And Israel says no. So let's get started. We've had over the past 3 days, January 19 through 21, 3 days of severe extreme impact from space. We had a G5 to a G4 geomagnetic level storms for 15 hours, a G3 for 18 hours. It has finally subsided. And
we got breaking news, you guys. Another shooting. We'll come back in a minute.
We are live in Washington, D.C., folks, for people who are coming in the chat.
What is it you do?
Software development.
This guy's a ghost. He never leaves DNA, and he's not working alone.
We're good at this.
Yeah. Crime 101, rated R, only in theaters February 13th.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
Where at least 4 people have been shot. Find out what happened here, what this is all about.
Come on. What?
All right, here we are in Washington, D.C. Somebody said in the chat, only 4 people. It's a slow day. At least 4 people have been shot. So that's what we know. Maybe they speak. It doesn't appear there's fatalities, but at least 4 people shot. We're at the scene of a quadruple shooting at 16th Street Heights in Northwest DC, awaiting a briefing from interim Chief Carroll. Chief Carroll.
All right, we'll get back to Billy Bean.
Produced auroras in 40 U.S. states and Europe, plus around South America and the South Atlantic anomaly, all the way down to Brazil. We also had an S4 level storm, that's particles coming in to the Earth from the sun, initially beginning with solar wind, then the geomagnetic storms. I noticed that some sources were reporting the U.S. Yesterday, coast to coast, an air quality alert for particles in the air. And we also saw in the last 24 hours an uptick of earthquake swarms in several areas of California, impacting the San Andreas fault line. And in my last video, I reported the USGS gives a major earthquake warning for California in the next 7 to 10 days of a magnitude 6 to 7. So it would be good to be in prayer for California. And we saw also at Davos, that's a global economic meeting President Trump attended in Switzerland. We saw also talking about California, Gavin Newsom showing up, posing as the next Democrat presidential nominee, we believe. Also taking shots at America and President Trump. We have this also from California. WorldNet Daily reports an ICE agent was injured in Compton, California, early this morning.
Hand off your taxes to an expert in your neighborhood. Now, your TurboTax expert can file for you, so you don't have to miss a moment. You've got better things to do than taxes. Have a local TurboTax expert file for you.
If the Colonel saw the price of a lunch today, he'd have some choice words. But with KFC's $5 bowl,
he then used his car to try and run over an ICE agent. The ICE agent did fire shots. None hit the illegal, the criminal illegal, who then jumped out of the car, gave foot chase. He was taken down with the assistance of the California police. He's in custody. He's a criminal illegal from El Salvador. William Eduardo Moran Cabello, who had been previously convicted in California and also had a deportation order in 2019. But we know California is one of the Dem states and doesn't deport illegals. Well, he's finally been captured. And he's been involved in human trafficking. So that's going on. And we have this, Minnesota. So we see Tim Walz, more investigation into his ties to China and possibly being an agent for the CCP, as he even was vetted by the Dems in his vice president nominee process when he ran with Kamala. Even the Dems knew that he had ties to the CCP. But hey, We're talking about the Commie Dem political party. Also for Minnesota, additional U.S. military prep to be sent to Minnesota. I've already covered 500 Marines training at 29 Palms in California, plus 1,500 paratroopers, Army Airborne out of Alaska, also prepping to go to Minnesota. Zero Hedge also reports additional U.S. military prep to go to Minnesota. This is 200 to 300 Army military police out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, also on standby. I suspect when President Trump, in his very triumphant stay at Davos and what he's been able to accomplish as being a peacemaker in the world at Davos, I'll cover that more. I suspect when he gets back from Switzerland that a number one objective on his agenda will be, what the H to do with Minnesota. And we know Minnesota is the site of billions and billions of dollars of Somali fraud from the Medicare and other federal government monies. We have Breitbart also reporting a recent book has been released recently detailing and documenting the CCP's contributions to the Dem political party, going all the way back to HRC. And we have this from the Wall Street Journal that it's possible, rumors are being put out, they're citing anonymous government sources, that President Trump and his team also have on their agenda a regime change in Cuba by the end of 2026. And we see the impact of President Trump now controlling oil coming from Venezuela, which means no oil to Cuba. It's believed their economy is on the verge of collapsing. We have this. Now, President Trump has signed an historic agreement as many other world leaders signed. President Trump and his team put forth a board of peace to bring about peace in Gaza. So a board of peace, and President Trump invited certain world leaders to participate. They do have to make an agreement with certain procedures to bring about peace and rebuilding in Gaza.
The next generation of quality from Tacoma is here. Optimized for forgiveness, reimagined for precision, and designed ideally for fewer squares on your scorecards.
And also contribute $1 billion. So this historic peace agreement has been signed by Argentina, Bulgaria, Turkey, Qatar, Mongolia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Hungary, Indonesia, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kosovo, Pakistan, Paraguay, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Uzbekistan. And we have this additional information regarding this historic peace agreement for Gaza with the Rafah crossing from Gaza into Egypt, we understand, to open within 24 hours. The UK was invited, and they are still considering signing it and making a $1 billion contribution. The $1 billion will be used for aid and rebuilding in Gaza. France, Macron, says no. Israel, Netanyahu, says no. And Denmark was not invited. And we have this about President Putin, who was invited. President Putin says he's still considering it, but he did make a public statement, which came out on RT and other source platforms, saying that Russia is considering signing the Board of Peace to bring about peace and rebuilding in Gaza, and that Russia could use $1 billion from its frozen assets being held, I believe, in a Belgian bank. We know the EU leaders wanted to confiscate it, and the Belgian bank remained firm and said no to the EU. EU confiscating the frozen Russian assets, which we understand is billions of dollars, would destroy banking investment in Europe forever. So way to go, bank in Belgium. President Putin said Russia is considering, and they could make the $1 billion contribution from the frozen Russian money in Belgium. And then Russia could use the remaining money in their frozen bank account in Belgium to rebuild Ukraine. And we understand President Trump is to meet with Zelensky in Switzerland today, Thursday.
What?
And we have this about Greenland. So we know there was a big to-do about President Trump's remarks. The U.S. needs Greenland for U.S. strategic security, which would also give security to Greenland, Canada, the U.S., South America, Central America, and also Europe. Well, President Trump made a speech, said that he would not use force to take Greenland. And it's coming out that at Davos, he has arrived at some type of framework for an agreement between the U.S., Greenland, and Denmark. But we don't have details yet. And we have this, Mark Rutte, the leader of NATO, did make a public statement that came out on Bloomberg that NATO would be a part of the security in Greenland, and that Denmark has not been discussed as part of this framework. So that's going on. The framework, according to Mark Rutte, involves security issues with Greenland. We have this from Zero Hedge regarding Greenland. So the EU has also put on their table a threat to President Trump and the US for Europe to use something called an economic bazooka, an anti-coercion instrument. Their EU members are still discussing using this, which would hit the US in terms of trade and tariffs. Now, it's being put forth by the US that Europe doesn't have enough economic strength against the US to impact US economy. So it doesn't appear that the EU is operating from a position of economic strength and making their threats regarding Greenland and Denmark. So that's going on. It's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. And talking about world peace, who would have believed that President Trump would have the historic signing by many international leaders, and we understand additional leaders are now considering the proposal and have not yet committed. But President Trump has been instrumental in adding to world peace by solving the peace issue in Gaza. And remember, as I said, Israel said no. They will not agree to it, and they will not support it, and they will not sign it. So it's good to be in prayer for everyone involved. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Let's cover.
Okay, Billy Bean today. So this video, I'm going to go to 8:30 at least. I want to play this half hour if you guys don't want to. Just check it out, see if it's good or not.
God's green earth, that I might lose my children, I would do everything except for deny Christ. I mean, I would be kicked in the teeth. I would be, you name it. But if there was a possibility that I might lose my precious children or my grandchildren, I don't care what the Bible says. I mean, that is just the truth. And forgive me, God, but no.
It's worth the price of a couple of books from Ron Bouchard. You'll have all you need.
Heard.
That's it, bro. That's all you need. Get you a couple books from Ron Bouchard. Your problem
He
is solved.
ain't, no, it's not in the books. He's got it on his website for free. He ain't asking for money.
Yeah, Kevin. Shoot.
But the books help you understand what the hell is going on.
No, understanding helps you understand.
Yeah,
what's going
he's
on.
a killer. He's got one book called Don't Die in a Rowboat. We all come into this world in a rowboat, and we never fortify that boat by uneducating ourselves and listening to the indoctrination. And that's what that book is all about, the psychological, how he describes it in the chat. He's verbalized it before. He read a couple of the chapters while he was writing the book last year. And it blew everybody away. The people that were there.
I'm not going to play that, I guess. I got 2 Nick videos.
When we go somewhere else, it's America first.
Ladies and gentlemen, as it turns out, when an American politician goes to another country in front of a bunch of other world leaders and bashes the president and therefore mocks America, people don't really like it. Go figure. I mean, what a concept. And Stephen A. Smith is eviscerating Gavin Newsom over his performance in Davos in the past 24, 48 hours. Stephen A. Smith isn't exactly a Trump supporter or a MAGA conservative, but he understands what it means to be an American on the world stage. And he just gave Gavin Newsom the biggest lesson on patriotism he's ever gotten, and Gavin Newsom is never going to forget this one.
I have no problem with Gavin Newsom being candid and open about his feelings about our president on United States soil. To go over to another country, Switzerland, to go over there and to be in the presence of other European leaders speaking against the president of the United States. I'm not down with that. Y'all might be, I'm not down with that. at all. Say whatever you want here. As a governor from the opposite side of the aisle of a state in the United States on American soil, fine. But I'm one of those people, when we go somewhere else, it's America first. You know, our problems, yeah, are our problems. But we ain't taking dirty laundry outside. Now, I know that sounds juvenile. I get that. Very simplistic in the eyes of a lot of people. But some things are worthy of being simple. And I understand you trolling Trump. I understand that you're aiming to run for the presidency in 2028. But we got problems here in the United States. And don't tell me they don't exist in California.
He's right. He's absolutely right. And this sentiment is shared by not just Trump supporters, but 99% of Americans. Nobody likes this. Gavin Newsom effed around, and he's finding out. He already got his ass handed to him by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who called him Sparkle Beach Ken and Patrick Bateman. Now he's getting his ass handed to him by Stephen A. Smith. And I think what Gavin Newsom did is so wildly out of touch and unpopular that he's effectively destroyed his chance of any political future outside of California at this point. He literally went to Davos, Switzerland, and brought a pair of red knee pads to hand out to European leaders, implying that they're sucking Trump's ding dong or kissing Trump's butt. And he thinks it's funny. He thought this would go over well. This is his attempt at comedy, guys. Look.
And they're the new Trump Signature Series knee pads. Yeah, and they are available online. I told you the last one sold out.
I started a business to give old clothes a new life, and Chase has supported me from the beginning.
Genius can come from anywhere, with untapped potential in all of us. It was true for Hedy Lamarr.
And I just want to sort of... This is a serious moment. It actually, but we laugh. Anyway, these are available and in bulk, too.
And while he thinks his joke is landing because he gets a couple claps and a couple laughs from people like Emmanuel Macron in the audience who got cucked by Trump and has TDS also, 99% of America is at home watching in disgust and horror as this greasy, coked up slime ball embarrasses himself and all of us on the world stage. It's not going how he thinks it's going. And let me ask you this, which joke landed better? Which one is more memorable? The red knee pads or Scott Bessent's joke about Gavin Newsom looking like Patrick Bateman / Sparkle Beach Ken? I mean, this image, I'll never be able to get it out of my mind. Every time I see Gavin Newsom, this is what I'm going to see in my mind's eye. Now, you would think after getting roasted by Scott Bessent and taking such an L, Newscum, Sparkle Beach Ken, would have just went home. But no, he decided to stay and cry some more and play victim about censorship after they canceled his speech because of what a jackass he was being.
And what's happening across my country and what happened here in Davos. I was going to speak last night. It was a well-established event at the USA House. Simple conversation, discussion. After Trump's speech, they made sure that I didn't. They made sure it was canceled. And that's what's happening in the United States of America. Freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. It's America in reverse.
And yet here he is speaking and expressing his opinion. It's kind of funny how that works. And he didn't get censored. He got rejected by the people hosting the event. He acts like, you know, they're so scared of what he has to say. Nobody fears you. They just didn't want some drunken uncle, you know, talking trash about America because it doesn't align with the point of the event. They censored you because you're embarrassing the family, the country, the house. You're the drunk uncle at the wedding. You're literally coked up with Alex Soros, walking around, you know, your jaw's moving around, your eyes are darting back and forth. You look like a crazy person. You brought a pair of red knee pads and you completely humiliated yourself and attempted to mock and humiliate Americans. Nobody wanted you to speak. That's the bottom line. And I think this whole thing is a big reality check to the Democrats and people like Stephen A. Smith. This entire trip to Davos, Gavin Newsom going out there, it proves one thing, that the Democrats have absolutely no strategy other than Orange Man bad. I mean, they don't have dignity. They don't have class. They don't have respect. They hate the country. They're willing to set their own house on fire in an attempt to gain more power. And so here's the most embarrassing part. Okay, let's look at the scoreboard. Let's look at the optics. the Democrats, they've got their guy, Gavin Newsom. They want him to be the Democrats' front runner for the 2028 election. And him going to Davos was effectively his attempt at auditioning for the position of America's next president. And he's out there with a pair of red knee pads, bashing the country, humiliating us all on the world stage, and, thinks that he's getting a laugh, thinks that it's a win. In reality, he got humiliated. He got called Sparkle Beach Ken, Patrick Bateman, and nobody's going to forget that. They kicked him out of the main event. He's in the back row looking like a greased up cuck. And then you got Trump on the other hand. Trump walks into Davos like a boss. He's got tariff threats. All of Europe's on their heels. The markets are panicked. Everybody's scared. What's he going to do next? The globalists are all sweating. And then what happened? He cuts a historic deal on Greenland. He used that leverage and that power and that fear to secure a massive win for the national security of the country. Trump went full-blown nuclear on America First policies in front of all the globalists that hate our guts and they hate the America First agenda. He looked all the European leaders in the eye and said, we're building the Golden Dome, we're taking Greenland, and if you want protection from the world's strongest military, then you better pay up and do your fair share. He's moving markets, he's projecting power, and then you've got greasy slimeball Gavin standing in the hallway with his pair of red knee pads. And everybody's thinking how he looks like a lifeless Barbie doll used car salesman, and he's the laughing stock of the event. And meanwhile, Americans are at home seething in anger because he disrespected us all on the world stage. So the scoreboard is Trump looks like a baller, and Gavin Newsom looks small, puny, disrespectful, slimy, and frankly, he looks like a big cuck because the whole reason he's there is to audition for the globalist approval. He wants their approval and he wants to show them that he's their guy. Well, unfortunately for him, if he wants to run for president, America just overwhelmingly voted for the anti-globalist America First president, Donald Trump, and someone like Gavin Newsom in a fair election doesn't stand a freaking snowball chance in hell at becoming America's next president. And this is the state of affairs for the Democrat Party, and people like Stephen A. Smith are waking up and realizing and seeing the writing on the wall. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I truly want to know what you guys think.
Okay, that's the first one. I got a second one.
And all these people that are saying MAGA's divided, well, we're all
4
unified
minutes on
on at least one front, according to CNN, and that is Maduro and Venezuela. Take a look at this. It's absolutely incredible that they're saying this on national television.
About what the president's done in Venezuela?
Let me be very clear. There is no rift in the Republican Party. Yes, there are some folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie who are quite skeptical of this. They are very much in the minority. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just talk the GOP on the U.S. military, ousting Maduro? Ipsos, 65% support, 6% opposed. How about the Washington Post poll? 74% support, just 10% opposed. If you look among 2024 Trump supporters, we're talking about 80% support. The vast, vast majority of Republicans are with Donald Trump on this issue. Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene are very much in the minority. Very few Republicans are with him.
You say they're with him on this issue. Do you even need those words, this issue?
No, I don't need the words this issue, because the bottom line is this. Donald Trump has had an iron grip on that Republican base for a long period of time. And it is the same iron grip that he had 6 months ago. I know every so often people are trying to say, oh, I spot these little rifts in the Republican base. Oh, they're finally starting to break. They're starting to break from Donald Trump. It ain't happening, at least when it comes to the approval rating. Look at this. 84% 6 months ago, 85% now. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know 85% and 84% are basically the same number. In fact, 85% is 1 point higher. than 84%.
So it's almost like they're shocked that their propaganda has been so ineffective that not only has his support maintained, it's actually increased by 1%. And clearly, this Maduro Venezuela situation is massively supported, not just by Republicans, but by Democrats, by independents, by people, the 8 million people that fled Venezuela as it was a collapsing regime. All of them support it, and many of them are here in the United States. What he did is massively, massively popular and supported. So what I want to say in this video is, if you look at the conservative conversation happening on X, all these influencers that are actively trying to divide MAGA, and I'm not going to name any names because that's just a no-win situation. If I call anybody out immediately, it's going to be divisive. And last time I had a channel calling people out and getting into this drama and that drama, I'm not doing any of that. But a lot of these people would have you believe that Trump has lost the support, has lost his base, and is not as popular as he once was. And clearly, that's not the case. His GOP rating went up in the last 6 months, and clearly he has an iron grip over the Republican Party. And to all these people saying, we're going to lose the House in the midterms, well, Susie Wiles now has Trump campaigning for Republicans in the midterms, and this whole concern that his name's not on the ballot and we're low propensity voters. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised what happens between now and the midterms in terms of the economy and, in terms of the geopolitical power structure. A lot of people are starting to wake up and realizing that what Trump does is actually effective. It just takes time. And by the time we get to the midterms, a lot of the things that he set in motion are going to actually start to bear fruit. So I'm actually very encouraged, guys, and I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments section. CNN is admitting that Trump...
Okay, I got 2 Nick videos out. Another short one coming up.
Fulfillment centers in the state go dark, not because of a strike, not because of automation, not because Amazon decided to leave, but because a single regulatory decision made it physically impossible to keep the lights on. And what's spreading across the state right now isn't just a logistics crisis. It's a case study in what happens when policy meets reality at 70 miles per hour, and nobody bothered to check the math. This is Sophia Miller, and you're watching the kind of investigation the mainstream outlets won't touch because it asks the one question they're terrified to answer. Who's actually running the show when the consequences hit this fast? If you want reporting that follows the money, the mandates, and the wreckage all the way to the end, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video if you're tired of surface level coverage. Governor be held personally accountable when a policy decision costs thousands of jobs in a single week? I want to hear from you and share this because what happened in California is already being replicated in 3 other states, and most people have no idea it's coming. Here's the central claim, and it's not ideological, it's mechanical. California imposed an emergency energy mandate on commercial facilities that required immediate compliance with grid load reduction targets. Amazon's fulfillment center in San Bernardino, a 1.2 million square foot operation processing over 400,000 packages a day, could not meet the new requirements without a full electrical infrastructure overhaul that would take 18 months and cost $87 million. The state offered no grace period, no phased implementation, no alternative pathways. So Amazon did the only thing a corporation can do when the math doesn't work. It shut down the facility in 11 days. The governor's office called it a voluntary business decision. But when you pull back the curtain, what you find isn't a choice. It's a checkmate. And the people paying the price aren't the ones who signed the mandate. Let's go back to the beginning, because this didn't start with Amazon. It started with California's grid. For the past 3 years, the state has been running a high-wire act between renewable energy targets and baseload capacity. Rolling blackouts in the summer, backup diesel generators kicking in during peak hours, and wholesale electricity prices that spiked by 340% during heat waves. By early last year, the California Public Utilities Commission was staring at a projected shortfall of 3,700 megawatts during peak summer demand. That's enough to power roughly 2.8 million homes. The gap wasn't theoretical. It was showing up on dashboards in real time. So in March of last year, the governor's office, working in coordination with the California Energy Commission, issued what they called an Emergency Commercial Energy Reduction Directive. The name was bureaucratic. The effect was a sledgehammer. Any commercial facility using more than 5 megawatts during peak hours, roughly 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., had to cut consumption by 30% within 90 days or face daily fines starting at $50,000 and scaling up to $500,000. There was no appeals process. There was no hardship exemption. There was a deadline, a penalty, and a compliance checklist. Now here's where it gets specific. Amazon's San Bernardino Fulfillment Center was pulling 11.4 megawatts during peak hours. That's because the facility runs 3 overlapping shifts, operates a fleet of 1,400 electric forklifts that charge on-site, and uses climate control systems to protect inventory in a region where summer temperatures regularly hit 110 degrees. To cut peak load by 30%, Amazon would need to either shut down an entire shift, disable the charging infrastructure, or rebuild the electrical system to integrate battery storage and on-site solar at a scale that doesn't exist in the private sector yet. The company commissioned an engineering assessment. The report came back in 6 weeks. The conclusion was unambiguous. Compliance without shutdown would require 18 months of construction, an $87 million capital outlay. The governor of
Okay, Amazon news.
We experience this phenomenon that I have dubbed winter whiplash. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Woke up yesterday morning to this forecast. They were forecasting 11 to 17 inches of snow in my area. We've not seen that kind of snow since 1993. Huge deal here. Huge. They are telling people, prepare for this now. Don't wait. Don't wait till Friday, till it's too late. Go to the grocery store. Go to the hardware store. Get the salt and water faucet covers and all that sort of thing. People are, some of the grocery store shelves right now today, they're bare. But then I wake up this morning. You know what the forecast is for the weekend now? 2 to 4 inches of rain. This is a typical winter forecast in the South. That's why I've named it winter whiplash. Because you never know. They'll forecast rain, we'll get snow. They'll forecast snow, we'll get a little sleet. They'll forecast a little sleet, we'll get 4 inches of snow. We never know. Y'all, it's the craziest roller coaster in the South in the winter. And those of you who live here, you know exactly what I'm.
Okay, that's one there. Got a second and a third one.
Fraud scheme. And now we know the Brooklyn centers that are involved. This case comes out of Brooklyn, New York. And according to federal prosecutors, it involves specific adult daycare and home care related businesses. Court records name Happy Family Social Adult Daycare Center and Family Social Adult Daycare Center, along with a home care intermediary called Responsible Care Staffing, Inc. Prosecutors say Medicaid recipients were allegedly paid cash to enroll at these Brooklyn locations. Then Medicaid was billed for services that were never provided or were only provided because of illegal kickbacks. Sound familiar? 2 marketers connected to this Brooklyn operation have now pled guilty to conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud, each facing up to 10 years in federal prison. This was not a victimless crime. That's Medicaid money meant for seniors and disabled adults. Follow for part 2 because more people were charged and this case is not over. 2 people just pled guilty in a $68 million.
Okay, one more. We'll get to videos here shortly. Where the heck is it? Nope. I thought I had 3 of them. Okay, then we'll get to videos now. Got 3 short ones. Nine and a half on this one.
Words that you'll be sure to land, you warthog-faced buffoon.
That will be the first time in my life a man has dared insult me.
It won't be the last.
What's up, guys? Benny. Eventually, people are just going to have to start believing that Donald Trump means what he says, and he's probably going to get what he wants. I mean, he just got Greenland. Trump just announced a deal to get Greenland. So there's that. Trump said for years that he was going to sue large corporate media companies that lied about him. And lo and behold, Trump has been on an absolute barn burner against the biggest news companies in America for lying about Trump. George Stephanopoulos said Trump was a rapist, right? That's not true. He had to settle for $15 million and apologize. Look at that. Oh, yikes. Now Trump wants to sue other news outlets, and he has. Trump walked away from Paramount's $15 million offer to settle news lawsuits because they didn't want to apologize to him. Well, lo and behold, Paramount has apologized. Paramount paid $16 million settlement with Trump over 60 Minutes interview where they selectively edited the staff at 60 Minutes. It's very, very upset about it. Meta agreed to pay $25 million to settle a lawsuit for suspending Donald Trump. Donald Trump has sued a bunch of other companies like the Des Moines Register, Simon & Schuster, CNN, and maybe CNN again. Breaking news, I just heard today that during our amazing rally, great state of Michigan, Florida Circuit Judge issued a powerful decision denying the Pulitzer Prize Board to give Pulitzer Prizes to the Russia collusion hoax. Trump's even like ripping Pulitzers out of the hands of these journalists. So what's he gonna rip next? CNN? He's already suing CNN in one lawsuit. Could there be more? Cameron Kasky is one of those like little like Parkland kids who went on, I got, it's like, we know Parkland families. I'm not trying to dunk on them. I'm just saying that there were like extreme opportunist kids like David Hogg, who wasn't even there that day, right? And Cameron Kasky, who have decided to take that tragedy and merchandise it into little careers for themselves, little famous progressive talking head careers for themselves, and going to Harvard and getting into any Ivy League school that they wanted by doing gun activism, Soros-funded gun activism, anti-gun activism, obviously, around the country. And that's what they did, and it was grotesque. It was sick. I mean, they literally used the blood of their fellow classmates and the horrible tragedy in order to push left-wing ideologue slop on the rest of the country. It didn't work, obviously, and most of them are like just utterly and completely irrelevant now, and a total joke. Like David Hogg has been kicked to the curb by the DNC. They wouldn't even let him in the building anymore. But Cameron Kasky is on CNN, and he's lying about Donald Trump. Oh no, he's on CNN, and he's trying to speech police Scott Jennings, which is a dumb idea. And then he lies about Trump, saying he's part of a sex trafficking network. For a moment, the panel let it slide. Let's go ahead.
Transparent about this. I would love it if he was more transparent about the
human sex trafficking network that he was a part of, but you can't win them all.
Cameron's grateful that the president's being transparent about the Nobel Peace Prize and his desires for Greenland. Scott, what do you think about that?
You gonna let that sit? Are we gonna claim here on CNN that the president is part of a global sex trafficking ring, or?
Well,
I mean,
we're going to talk about the Epstein file. Scott, I will do the fact checking
I'm just
as
asking.
we go along here. Repeat what you said about the global sex trafficking ring.
That Donald Trump was provably very involved with it.
Okay, we'll get to that later. I mean, Donald Trump has never been charged with any crimes in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. But
let's be adults here.
We'll talk about that.
Let's be serious.
Let's
be serious. the face of left-wing masculinity. Amazing how quickly these kind of things get up to the lawyers who would have to field another Trump lawsuit. They're already working through 1 or 3 at CNN. And Cameron Kasky, boy, oh boy, has decided that he's going to do what the lawyers tell him to in order to remain on CNN. Could you imagine disgracing yourself to remain on CNN? Here we go. I would like to retract my comments from CNN last night and apologize truly. Oh, he truly means it this time. Donald Trump was obviously not involved with the giant international child sex trafficking ring where women and children were systematically raped by elites. I said that by accident, and I didn't mean it. Okay. So this is I don't know, not going to work out great for him. I think that this is some type of smug attempt to get around the legal liabilities here. You play that comic kid, you practice it in front of the mirror, you're just too broke to sue. Do you mean you said it by accident? Do you have Tourette's? While you regretted the accident so much that you doubled down a few seconds later. By accident. Oh, sure. By accident. I didn't mean it. By accident. You're doing great. Keep it up, pal. You mean it. You repeated it. Your attorney. It's time to play the clip. Here's the clip your attorney will need in the defamation lawsuit. Oh, no. Wasn't the only time that he got completely bodied on CNN. How are you going to enforce your edict on me just out of curiosity? F that, says Scott Jennings, who's a consummate pro.
Of this country, and how
are you going to enforce? I
you
recognize
don't get to say the word illegals anymore.
And you have. The
divorce, the percentage.
Who are you to tell me what I can and can't? I've never met you, brother. Listen, I can say whatever I want. They're illegal aliens, and that's what the law calls them, illegal aliens. That's what I'm going to call them.
Right.
Listen, you can't say illegals anymore because ICE is directly targeting legal citizens of this country. And how
are you going to enforce your edict on me, just out of curiosity?
Listen, I understand.
But just listen to his point about illegal.
No, I want to know why he gets to instruct
You're
my
changing the topic.
Hang on.
I want to know.
You're making a point about people being arrested.
I understand that your job is predicated on just getting increasingly more demented every single week, and that the audience comes back to see if perhaps
make your point.
My point is that you're saying the word illegals, but you don't
law.
even really know what's happening. Or actually, I think you do, and you're doing this on purpose. But
yes,
the truth
because
is,
I want the law enforced.
They are not just targeting illegal immigrants. They are targeting natural-born U.S. citizens.
8 U.S. Code 1325, Cameron, improper entry by alien. You are an alien. An illegal alien. It is illegal. Of course, Cameron Kasky, former theater kid, you don't get to say illegal aliens. Well, and you'd love to see him get sued. You really would. You don't get to say the words illegals anymore. How are you going to tell me what I can and cannot say? I've never even met you. They're illegal aliens. How are you going to enforce your edict on me? Goodness gracious. You should be sued into bankruptcy, and so should CNN, says multiple lawyers. It's not going to work out. CNN's lawyers have to be pulling their hair out. This is the most pathetic response. Blatantly said live on air, it's provable, referring to President Trump being a pedophile. CNN needs to fire him because they are spreading this type of air. Yeah. I don't know, man. Seems like he's doubling down. Guess he's also running for Congress or tried to run for Congress. Didn't work out great for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great. Everyone's doing great. Okay. All the more reason why you shouldn't watch CNN. We watch CNN, so you don't have to on this program, but I would love to see him get sued. Please sue him for this. Please, please, please. I'll play the clip a million more times. Trump sue CNN for this and Cameron Esky. Okay? Nobody deserves it.
Okay, that's the second mini. I got a short one, and I'm going to see how I feel after the next two Trish videos. I got two Trish, and see how that goes.
To January 25th. 7 days of ice, 7 nights of silence. It begins with dark clouds stretching across the sky like a warning no one can ignore. Then snow, not ordinary snow, giant flakes, heavy, sharp, falling faster and faster until entire cities vanish beneath white. Phones stop working. Batteries die in the freezing air. People step outside and feel the cold burn their skin like fire. Even the news anchors, those who are supposed to stay calm, stare into the camera, wide-eyed, their voices shaking. Water pipes burst, internet lines snap, skyscrapers freeze over, transforming into icy towers that pierce the sky. The world feels abandoned, silent, frozen, and they say, only those who are warned can prepare. Only those who speak their names will be spared. The Simpsons predicted it. The storm is coming. January 19th to January 25th, 2026. Will you survive the week of ice? The snow doesn't scream. It listens. Each hour colder than the last. Each night longer than it should be. Footsteps vanish seconds after they're made. Voices fade. Hope freezes. Some laugh it off. Some scroll past the warning. Some say it's just another winter. But winters don't silence cities. Winters don't shut down the world. This one does. They say preparation is the difference between being buried and being remembered. Food, heat, power, shelter. When the storm comes, these become priceless. Because when the ice settles in, help doesn't come. Signals don't return, and time stops caring. The Simpsons predicted it, or maybe they warned us. The storm is coming. January 19th to January 25th, 2026. When the cold decides who stays, will you be ready for the week of ice?
What do you think of that one?
In fact, she's in big, big trouble. I want to get first to the president saying he watched the tape of the protesters storming the church, and these people he said are professionals. Nobody is going to act that way. They were highly trained to scream, rant, and rave like lunatics in a certain manner, just like they were doing. They are troublemakers of their own. And then he goes on to talk about walls and fake sleazebag Ilhan Omar, I'm quoting him, who is supposedly worth over $30 million, even though she's never had a job other than government job. Last I checked, they're making $174K a year. That must be one heck of an investment you got there, Ilhan, right?
Ilhan Omar's net worth went up nearly $30 million. The question is how? Here's what we know. Omar's husband, a former political consultant, owns a venture capital firm based in Washington, D.C., and a winery in California. Take a look at these numbers. In 2023, Omar disclosed a maximum of $50,000 in assets at the winery. The next year, Dana, that number increased to $5 million. Meanwhile, her husband's company, Rose Lake Capital, reported a maximum of $1,000 in assets in 2023. The next year, it was $25 million.
Woo! Yeah, that's quite a, dare I say, scam. I mean, how do you get a 1,000 to 25 million? By the way, there's another person that had sued him, may still be suing him for fraud at that winery. Fraud is quite a theme, is it not? I mean, again, that makes absolutely no sense. I don't know. He says he's got some kind of private equity thing. Again, they get a preferential tax treatment, but not that preferential. I'm sorry, you don't take $174,000 and turn it into $30 million like she did. And he was kind of a down on his luck businessman who couldn't do anything. And then he marries her. And the day he marries her, guys, this was amazing. The day they announced their marriage, what did they do? But they introduced the Feeding Our Future bill that would eventually
defraud
defraud American taxpayers of $250 million, not to mention the billions more. The president has called it 19 billion. We've seen estimates of 9 billion. Whatever it is, it's a heck of a lot of money. And when we look at the entire country, we're talking about 600 billion that they think has been stolen from you and from me and from every hardworking American. Well, let's go back to Ilhan Omar right now under investigation, brand new.
Despite that, Omar denied being a millionaire earlier this year, posting on X, quote, "I barely have thousands, let alone millions." House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer tells Fox News an investigation is underway, writing, quote, "The committee is working on addressing ethics concerns regarding Representative Omar and her spouse, and we hope to have an update soon." But Omar says she's being targeted.
Ever since I've gotten to Congress, they have been doing these sort of weird ethics investigations. None of them have yielded anything because I have been as transparent as I can be.
They've been doing a lot of weird ethics investigations. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because your state is costing American taxpayers at least $9 billion. Maybe it's because your district right now, the new.
Okay, I got a short clip, 3 minutes.
We all know this, but
You
red
guys remember
shoes,
this?
these aren't just any leather. No, they're crafted from something far more exclusive. They say it makes the softest leather in the world. The price for these shoes, let's just say, it's not just measured in dollars. You've seen them, bright, bold, almost out of place. Red shoes on billionaires, politicians, Hollywood elites. You think it's just fashion? No, it's a symbol, a mark, something only the initiated understand. Same with the red carpet they walk on. And if you think that sounds insane, remember, Nike already introduced this idea to the mainstream. Yeah. They literally made sneakers infused with real inner liquids.
You too,
A major
KK.
company
See you
mass
tomorrow.
marketing
Love
the
ya.
concept. And who do you think wore these shoes the most? Who was the target demographic? But this goes deeper. There's actual artwork, paintings, tapestries, showing people wearing red shoes against their will. Ever wondered why? Because red shoes don't just symbolize status. They tell a story, but only to those who can read the symbolism. And the red carpet, think about it, the biggest celebrities, the most powerful figures in entertainment, all walking down a red carpet. And what do they always ask each other? Who are you wearing? That's not an accident. It's ritualistic, a knowing nod to something deeper. Because certain ultra-luxury brands tailor-make clothing infused with real organic materials, if you know what I mean.
This one okay?
And they flaunt it in your face. Ever see that movie, random scene, guy strutting down the street in red shoes, eating pizza, no context, just thrown in there? Why? Because once you start recognizing the pattern, you realize it's everywhere. And here's the kicker. It's not just shoes. Certain ultra-luxury handbags, the kind with years-long waiting lists, the kind only they can get, are rumored to be made from the exact same material, same source, same meaning, different product. They've been hiding it in plain sight. That's what they do. They don't keep secrets. They tell you exactly what they're doing. And if you don't see it, that's on you. So next time you see a billionaire rocking a pair of red leather loafers, ask yourself, is it just a style choice, or are they telling you exactly who they are? I'm going to go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes.
That was important to get out. Got some short ones to play here towards the end.
Days. And I bet you didn't know that you can actually go underneath the United States
Tracy.
underwater.
Hey,
It's a big
just
floating
left.
island. I bet you didn't know that. Stay tuned. Check this out.
Terramar also endorsed Migaloo. Migaloo is a company that constructs yachts that can transform into submarines.
10 luxury submarines for billionaires. Can operate as a yacht on the surface and, when desired, can
Who's
submerge
Ryan
to a depth of
Hall?
up to 985 feet for up to 10 days at a time without the need for resupplying. If you had one of these, you would hardly ever need to set foot on land. But the design of this yacht is intended for purposes beyond a private vacation. Its creators said that it would be ideal for business
Is he
meetings
on
where
YouTube
privacy
or
is of the
Rumble?
utmost concern. It'd certainly be difficult to eavesdrop on what was being discussed on the seabed.
That was a short one there. Okay, what? A weatherman? Okay, thanks, Trey. I'll look him up right now.
One big round comes through during the on Friday and early Saturday, and then another one as we go to late
Thanks,
Saturday and early
Tracy.
Sunday. Very significant
You
freezing
too,
rate.
love ya.
Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey, Max, I was going to cover snow ratios quick because we had a comment about that. This is actually something that we can show you on models. So Max touched a little bit that most of our forecast models and the snow forecasts you see are based off that ratio of 10-1, and that is considered your normal snow ratio. But that is not what we're going to see in parts of Oklahoma, and that's why we think these snowfall totals might be a little bit higher. So looking at the GFS here, we can see that we do start around that 10 number right as we sort of start to see that cold air work its way in from the north. We are going to see 10-1 for a little bit, but the cold air is coming in very, very fast. We're calling it a polar blast for a reason, and that is because it is absolutely hauling south, and it is meeting up with that Gulf moisture. So as we get later into the event, there's going to be more and more cold air present. This is going to raise our snow ratios. So we're going to start out 1 inch of rain is equal to 10 inches of snow. Later on in the event, as we get into Saturday night and Sunday, as we see the last of our snow fall across these areas, we may see 1 inch of liquid equivalent be 17 inches of snow. So the forecasts you're seeing are mostly around that 10-1, but this is why we think that it could be so significantly higher than that, is because we're going to see double the snow for the same amount of water towards the tail end of this event.
All right, thank you, Riley, for the update. That's a good explanation right there. So that's talking about our snow to liquid ratios. And again, the higher that ratio is, like 20-1, that's going to lead to more significant snow. And I want to go back through our future radar to give you an idea of how this applies to our event here. So again, we're going to have 2 rounds of snow and ice, right? We're going to have 2 different rounds. The first round is going to be tomorrow night into Saturday. That is going to be this large area in the central and southern plains. This is where snow to liquid ratios will be around 10 to 12-1. Those are not very high. It'll still lead to around 2 inches of snow per hour in some areas of Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas, but it's not going to be as significant. This round will eventually move into the Ohio Valley and the Ozarks and then back over into the...
I'm not sure if this is it. I'm going to go, she said Ryan Hall. See what Ryan... Hold on, you guys. Try to find. Shoot. Hey, this is it, you guys. We'll play 10 minutes of this. Go to 8:30. Okay. That was an update on that. Thanks, Tracy, for letting us know on that. Very important update with the weather report. So, I guess we'll just call the night. We got quite a bit out tonight. Time goes by too fast. Oh, thought I was going to make it 3 hours, but I guess I couldn't. A lot of intel to get out. So, thanks, all the mods. Kay, Lucy, Tim, and Carol. And God bless y'all. And please hit the like and make sure you're checking the description box for my other channels. And God bless. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith. Never give up. Signing off for another night of intel. Tomorrow's Friday. And Chico Dude. See you tomorrow evening, you guys. Unless something happens.